When people first meet me and find out that I travel full time, their first reaction is kind of a minor shock. I can tell that their automatic assumption is that I'm either rich or somehow retired early. Yeah, I have my online businesses and stuff, but the truth is, it's not that expensive if you do it right. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing some memberships that can help you travel on the cheap.
Are you looking to travel with your family while making a full-time income? You're in the right place. Welcome to Touring Freedom with your host, Jason Wyatt.
Hey, I'm Jason Wyatt, and I am here to help you on your journey to your journey. My goal is to help you build a completely mobile income so that you can enjoy a location-independent lifestyle. And today, as a matter of fact, we're going to be discussing how to do it on the cheap so that we're not actually concentrating on the income side. We're going to concentrate on the expenditure side. There's no doubt that mobile income is necessary if you're going to travel full time, but while most of my episodes focus on generating an online income, I felt it was important to have an episode about ways to travel on a budget. It stands to logic that the cheaper that you can travel, the less income you'll need to generate to reach the goal of full-time travel, right? In fact, there's going to be many more episodes in the future about budget travel. There's a lot of content to cover on the topic, but in this episode, I'm going to concentrate specifically on memberships that will reduce your living and travel expenses. Now, I've mentioned in a previous episode a conversation I had with my uncle about my travels. He's since deceased, so it was actually the last face-to-face conversation I ever got to have with him. I was telling him about all the plans that we had for summer. And while I could tell that he was excited for my kids to have all these great experiences I was describing, there was also this kind of confused look in his face. And he finally said something to the effect of, "Well, that's great, son, but I just don't understand where you're going to get all the money to do this traveling all the time." He didn't understand online income, and he certainly didn't understand exactly how cheap this lifestyle can be. I spent at least 20 minutes trying to explain it all to him, and I could tell he just didn't quite get it, and even after I explained everything. But it was enough to convince him that I had it handled and he didn't have to worry about me, and that was enough for him. Now, I know you're not listening to this podcast for sad stories about my late uncle, but the point is that you can do this too. It's not something that you can just jump right into. It took me a couple of years to design the life that I wanted to live. The point is, if you work to generate an online income like I discuss in other episodes, and then set up your life using the strategies I'm going to discuss in this episode, it's a whole lot easier than most people think. So let's jump right in and talk about some memberships that will make life on the road easier and cheaper. The first one I want to discuss is Escapees. Escapees is well known within the RV community. Once you join, you get a nice magazine. I really like the magazine and the information it provides, but they also provide discounts to certain RV parks. But I think the most valuable part about this membership is the community. They have a lot of get-togethers throughout the year, and it seems to me that most people join Escapees for that community. And also they have like retirement RV parks or something like that. I don't fully understand it. I did join Escapees, and to be honest with you, I never used one part of their membership. Now, I joined with the expectation that I would be going to these big rallies they have, and of course, COVID-19 put a kibosh on that. So since there was no get-togethers, there was no reason for me to use this membership. So to me, it's really not worth the money, but it is something that you might want to look at, especially in the future once these big rallies come back. Those are great events to go to, and they're highly recommended. So you can just go to escapees.com and check that out. Now that I've mentioned that, and it was kind of a short segment because I don't know a whole lot about it. I never used it. I didn't even renew. I want to go ahead and move on to Good Sam. Good Sam is it's probably the most well-known camping membership in the industry. Right now, you can pick it up for $29 a year, and then they have discounts and extra bonus perks and stuff like that if you choose to buy multiple years at a time. Now, this membership gets you several things. First, it gets you a 10% discount at about 2,400 of the campgrounds across the country. Of course, this benefit alone can pay for itself in a week or so, but this really isn't always that great of a perk, not at least not as good as it may sound. Most of the campgrounds that accept Good Sam have plenty of other programs that they accept, many with even steeper discounts. So you'll probably find that you would qualify for a 10% discount in some other way at most of these campgrounds, even without Good Sam. But the second thing it gets you is sort of a club pricing at both Camping World and Gander Outdoors. Good Sam has been around for decades, but now it's owned by Camping World, along with just about everything else in the RV industry, it seems. So naturally, if they're going to offer the membership, they're going to give you a slight discount for being a member. They also give you 15% off propane and free septic dump at Camping World and Gander Outdoors. And those services aren't available at every location, but where they are, you do get a discount. So honestly, the perks for this membership aren't that great, but they are widely accepted and the price is dirt cheap. At $29 a year or less, depending on how many years you buy at a time, it's definitely a membership worth having. If you don't already have it and you would like to go ahead and grab your membership, you can use my link, tourfree.me/Sam. It may not be the best membership in the world, but just keeping the card in your wallet will save you more money through the year than you actually spent on the membership, especially if you find yourself at a Camping World often, which I think most of us do, no matter how much we try to avoid the place. But it's not a membership that is going to make a big difference in your monthly budget. So let's look at some that can. First, let's talk about fuel. It takes a lot of fuel to be driving around all the time, and fuel is expensive, right? Well, it's true that the more often you move, the more expensive this lifestyle will be. If you need to live less expensively, simply move less often. But there are other ways to mitigate fuel costs as well. I use a fuel discount program from TSD Logistics. Basically, the way I understand it is that TSD Logistics is a trucking company. Just like any other trucking company, they can negotiate better fuel prices for the drivers the bigger they are and the more drivers they have. Well, I guess they're kind of a smaller company and didn't have a lot of negotiating power compared to some of the other trucking companies. So they came up with this unique and, quite frankly, ingenious solution. They came up with a program to provide fuel discounts to RVers. This benefits TSD by increasing their driver numbers, thereby increasing their fuel usage, which gives them better negotiating power. In turn, it benefits RVers by providing them a discount on fuel. And it's not a small discount either. I've pulled into places with a price on the sign of $2.65 and ended up paying $1.88. I mean, these are substantial discounts. I have a 32-gallon tank, and we almost always see about a $15 or larger discount on our tank of fuel. I mean, it's like someone walking up and giving us an extra $60 per month. That's not a ton of money, but it adds up. Now, how it works is they issue you a fuel card, and this fuel card is only usable in the truck lanes at fuel stops. So yes, you do have to drive a diesel, but let's be honest, unless you have a gas burner motorhome, you should probably have a diesel anyway. So you got this card, but it's not a credit card. It works kind of like a debit card, except without the holes on your checking account. It's hooked directly to that checking account, so you'll see the amount you spend automatically deducted from your account in about 2 days or so. Now, you still might be wondering what's in it for them, and you'd be right to do so. They don't just do this for better negotiating leverage. There are 2 fees associated with using the program. First, they charge you a 65-cent per transaction fee. This is a flat fee, never changes. No matter how much you spend on that particular fill-up, they're going to charge you 65 cents every single time. The second fee does change depending on how much you spend, or more specifically, how much you save, because they will charge you a fee that is equal to 10% of whatever the discount was that you received. And there's also an app for all of this as well. So once you fill up, the transaction will show up immediately in the app so you can see what your savings was. All your recent transactions will show up and give you all the details. It will show you the fee of 65 cents, but for some reason the app doesn't show the 10% fee. So you kind of got to do that in your head. It's really no problem because it does show your total discount. So for instance, if it shows your subtotal as $65 and the discount you received was $15, which means you actually got $80 worth of fuel, you know they are going to tack on the standard 65-cent fee plus 10% of the discounts, which in this case would be $1.50, back to the $15 discount. So add the subtotal of $65 plus the fee of 65 cents plus 10% of the discount, which would be $1.50 since the discount was $15. So in that example, you would know that your bank would be charged $67.15 in the next day or two. And hey, $67 ain't bad for $80 worth of fuel. Of course, I used round numbers in that example, and I hope I didn't lose you rattling off a bunch of numbers. But in the real world and real numbers, my last fill up was $2.59 on the sign, but with my discount, it went to $2.12. 32 gallons ended up being $68.74, coming to a discount of $15.33. But after the fees, I only saved $13.15. But hey, $13 saved per fuel fill up is a whole lot better than a sharp stick in the eye, I guarantee you. The easiest part of this program is the fact that the app can show you on the map where the cheapest fuel is. Open up the map functionality in the app and it'll show you all the nearby locations. The app will even show you the price per gallon after the discount, even though the signs at the pumps most of the time won't indicate anything. I mean, sometimes the price goes down by 10 cents or so after I swipe my card, but it's not indicating my total discount. The only way I know what the discount price is through the app. And here's the best part. Not only does it show you all the locations that accept the card, but all the little symbols on the map will be red except one, and that one will be green. That's your preferred target destination because that's the cheapest fuel around. So you just click on the location you want, and it'll tell you what kind of station it is, the address, and what exit and interstate it's on, and the phone number in case you need to call and ask if they have an RV dump. Now, they say that the discounts will fluctuate from time to time, but in my experience, the best discounts are at TA and Petro, and some of the smaller ones too. But things like Pilot, Love's, Flying J, they rarely have any discount at all. If they do, it's not going to be much of one. So if you want to sign up for the TSD program, it's completely free. All you got to do is sign up and they'll send you a card. So go to torfree.me/TSD. Now, that's not an affiliate link, but they do have a referral program, and everyone who joins gets to participate. So once someone you refer racks up $500 in discounts, you get like $25 or so credited to your account. So it's not the greatest referral program, but anyway, I'd still, appreciate you putting Touring Freedom where it asks you who referred you. $25 is $25, and it won't take you long to rack up $500 in discounts. Now, once you're a member, I would encourage you to take advantage of this referral bonus as well. The more members, the bigger the discounts, and that helps us all. Now, Thousand Trails membership is by far the most valuable membership available to anyone who travels in their RV full time. They have 193 campgrounds the last I checked, and once you get a membership, you can camp there for free almost all the time. Now, I have run across a few that charge a $4 a night upgrade from a 30 amp to a 50 amp site, and I've heard people talk about like a $20, $25 per night upcharge from a 30 to a 50, but those upcharges are super rare. And even with all of that, it's still, without a doubt, by far the cheapest way to travel. They have several different levels. The lowest is referred to as a zone pass, and I think they might be trying to change the name to camping pass. But regardless what they call it, this level works differently than all the others in pretty much every way possible. What they've done with this membership is split the country up into different regions, or what they call zones. You can pick a zone and then you can camp at any of their locations for 14 days for free. Then you have to stay out of their system for at least 7 days before going back into the system at the next campground that is part of their network. Now, one way around this 7-day out restriction is to only spend 4 days at one park. If you only spend 4 days, then you can go directly to the next park in the network. Now, I don't know about you, but that's just too much traveling for me. I like to stay in one place for at least a couple of weeks before moving to the next destination. But the Zone Pass isn't really meant for full-timers, though. It's targeted more towards recreational campers who are just staying a while, and they don't need anything longer than a 14-day stint at one location. This is where the other membership levels come in, and they fit our lifestyle way more accurately. These membership levels feature things like 21 days in one park and the ability to travel directly to the next park with no time outside of the network. These abilities are almost a necessity in this lifestyle. They are also not dependent upon zones. Once you own one of these memberships, it opens up the entire country. One of the best things about these options is while the Zone Pass works like a normal membership where you pay yearly dues, you can just cancel it whenever you want to stop. These other bigger memberships are actually bought. That is to say that you actually own them like a piece of property. No, you don't actually own a piece of property, but the membership itself is owned and can be bought, sold, transferred, and even willed down to your children. Now, I'm not a super expert on all the levels of Thousand Trails memberships. There are just way too many of them with too many different features to know them all. Most are legacy memberships that aren't even offered anymore. You can buy these types from eBay or a membership broker service who act kind of like a real estate agent. I personally had a bad experience when going this route. Now, luckily, I was able to get most of my money back, but the next time I decided to purchase directly through Thousand Trails. If you plan on purchasing a used membership, here are a few things that you need to remember. Number one, buy from someone you trust. I bought my original membership from a stranger on eBay. 1 star, would not recommend. The second thing you need to know is you have to know and understand what you are getting. There are so many different memberships out there from decades of Thousand Trails. They all have different features and benefits. Some of them even have stipulations that certain benefits don't transfer over to second owners. It can get very complicated. It's a lot of information to consume and comprehend. I recommend doing a lot of research before buying used. The third thing is just to remember that no matter what you paid for your membership, Thousand Trails is going to charge you an additional fee to transfer it into your name. Last I checked, this fee was $750, but that was years ago. It may have gone up by now. So I'm not telling you that you shouldn't buy used. I know many people who have and are quite happy with their purchase. What I am telling you is it comes with its own set of risks that you need to be aware of. Now, buying directly from Thousand Trails is quite a bit more expensive in the long run, but you don't have to put all the money up front like you do when buying used. Instead, you can split it into monthly payments. This is the direction we chose to go. And to give you an idea of how incredibly inexpensive it is, our monthly bill is $148 for the first few years until that initial membership is paid off. Then it goes down to about $50 a month, just because of the yearly upkeep dues. All of the plans have to pay these yearly upkeep fees. Now, for that $148 a month, we can camp for free at 193 campgrounds all across the country. And if we ever get tired of traveling, which I truly don't see happening, but if we do, we have an asset that we can actually sell. Now, will we be able to sell it for what we have in it? No. But we've already gotten the value out of it just by using it. So the fact that we can sell it when we're done with it is just a bonus. Now, if you want to talk to someone more knowledgeable than me about what membership is right for you, you can call my friend Slade Howard. His number is 812-612-6492. And his email is william_howard@equitylifestyle.com. If you missed any of that, feel free to rewind. I'm not going to repeat it out of consideration for the guys who don't need it again. Now, if you do happen to mention that I sent you, Slade will be kind enough to give me like a $25 gift certificate or something like that. So it would be much appreciated if you did, but of course it's not required. Now, regardless of which way you choose to purchase a Thousand Trails membership, I feel like it's a necessity to a traveling family that plans on staying mainly in campgrounds. Well, that is, unless you got money to be spending on campsites constantly, and if you go that direction, it gets expensive quick. Of course, if that's the way you want to go, you're probably not listening to a podcast about traveling on the cheap anyway, right? All right, next up is Passport America. Whether you decide on buying a Thousand Trails membership or not, you have to get a Passport America. This is the biggest no-brainer in the history of camping. Passport America doesn't give you free camping like Thousand Trails does, but what it does offer is a 50% discount at over 1,600 campgrounds. Now, there are a lot of restrictions on how and when to use it. In fact, every individual campground has their own rules on their specific discount. One park may have a 2-night limit and only Monday through Thursday, while another park may have a 4-night limit and only restrict holidays. So the restrictions are something you really have to pay attention to. Passport America does make it pretty easy to find those restrictions, though. They have a trip planner on their website where you can enter your starting point, your destination, and any stops you want to make along the way. I don't know if there's any limit to how many stops you can include on the trip planner, so in theory, you could tour the entire country and plan out your entire route using their trip planner. Once you've entered your origin, your destination, and all your stops, it will give you detailed directions and show you all the Passport campgrounds that are along the way. Then you can decide how far you want to travel each day and try to find a participating campground near your stopping points. Now, this trip routing functionality is available both on their website and the mobile app, so it's really convenient. It's at this point that you would want to check the restrictions for the campgrounds you plan on staying at. Figure out what day you hope to stay there and see if it falls into their restrictions. You can click on the campground name right on the map, and it will take you to the page that shows details of the entire campground. If you do have a Thousand Trails, this is great to use during travel times. I don't know about you, but I don't like to drive more than 2 or 3 hours in a day. Heck, I ain't got no reason to hurry, you know? So if you're trying to get to your next Thousand Trails campground and you're not real big on boondocking, you can find steep discounts on Passport America campgrounds to spend a night or two as a rest stop on your journey. The best travel days are usually Monday through Thursday anyway, to avoid weekend camper traffic. So if you're doing that, you usually won't have a problem with the restrictions on Passport America when using it as a layover stop. But even if you're not a Thousand Trails member, or maybe you're not even a full-time traveler yet, this particular membership still makes tons of sense for you. It's only $44 a year, and it gives you 50% off. Even if you're only able to use it 2 nights out of the entire year, it's going to pay for itself. We've had this membership for years, and even before we were full-time, it would save us money just by using it on our annual trip to Disney and back. Now, if you want to check out Passport America, you can check them out at tourfree.me/PA. Now, the next membership that's going to save you tons of money is Harvest Hosts. It's another membership that gets you completely free camping, but it's also one that comes with a caveat. Harvest Host provides access to camping at tons of wineries and breweries and farms and other similar locations like that. I mean, really, there's no telling where you're going to end up. I just checked their website, and they currently list 1,800 locations, and they are adding more all the time. Heck, it just went up 600 locations just in the past 2 months or so. These locations vary widely, though, both in amenities provided and the quality of the scenery. Sometimes you might have a full hookup site, while other times you'll be boondocking. You may find yourself enjoying views of some of the most beautiful parts of the country, but sometimes you're going to find yourself parked in a parking lot. Now, one of the reasons these wineries, breweries, and farms are so keen on you coming to visit them is that they usually have some sort of store or shop or on premises that they are assuming that you will shop at and make a purchase. This is no problem for wine and beer lovers, but if you aren't someone who drinks at all, you may want to limit yourself to some of the farm co-ops and things like that so that you can purchase some of the veggies. I wouldn't necessarily call this reciprocal shopping an actual rule, but it is a strong suggestion, and I would say that it would definitely be considered poor etiquette if you stay somewhere for free within this network without making some sort of purchase. One thing I need to say is that while the amenities and scenery may vary from place to place, the quality of the people you meet does not vary. The people running these places are some of the best kinds of people you would ever want to meet. While some are attentive and interactive, others are more private and just leave you alone. But in all cases, they are more than hospitable and try to make sure that you have everything you need to enjoy your stay. You'll meet some of the nicest people you could ever hope to meet staying in Harvest Host locations. I highly recommend you check out Harvest Host. You can actually get a 15% off discount on your membership if you use my affiliate link. So go to tourfree.me/HH to grab that discount. So that's just a quick rundown of some of the memberships available, things I recommend, some I don't quite recommend, but they're all good memberships in their own right. It may sound like a lot of stuff to get, but if you join every single program I mentioned in this episode, it could cost you less than $2,000 a year. Yes, $2,000 is a lot of money, but compare that to your current rent or mortgage for the year. Then add in power, water, and all your other utilities. How much more are you spending per year to live where you're at? Wouldn't $2,000 a year be cheaper? Now add in about $300 to $400 in fuel every month. It's still probably quite a bit less than what you're paying now, right? Worst case scenario, you have to finance an RV. If you add that into the equation, you're likely still under what you're paying now. At that point, of course, your main concern is replacing your current income with online income. Of course, you can learn how to do that by joining the Shun the Norm community. You can find that at tourfree.me/shun the norm. And remember to subscribe to this podcast in your favorite podcast app and leave us a review for the show to help other people find it. There's no reason to keep all this wholesome goodness to yourself, you know? And as always, if you like the show, tell a friend. If you don't like the show, tell an enemy. Just tell somebody. Until next time, I'm Jason Wyatt, and I'll see you on the road.
Thanks so much for listening to Touring Freedom with your host, Jason Wyatt. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit touringfreedom.com, on Twitter at TourFreeRV, and on Instagram at Touring Freedom, and Facebook.com/Touring Freedom. We'll catch you next time on Touring Freedom.